Hey, I want to go over these guided questions real quickly on the Holocaust. I know you've covered a lot of stuff in U.S. history, but just briefly going to go over a couple things relative to, um, the Holocaust. Setting the stage. And again, these questions were due last night, 11:59. So hopefully you got those turned in. If you didn't or you missed some, you can obviously resubmit those and get late credit for that. But the Nazi Party in the early 1930s, Hitler takes over in like 32 or 33, and they established the master race, right? That Aryans are the prototype German, and that's what they wanted everybody to kind of fall in line with. And that anything that was not an Aryan was inferior, especially Jewish people, but there were others as well. Um, there's other subgroups. We'll talk about 6 million Jews being murdered during the Holocaust, but there was also 6 million other um, groups of people that were also targeted and considered to be undesirable by the Nazi Party. Throughout history, many Germans had targeted Jews for their failures. The term anti-Semitism really starts to be a thing in the late 1880s, but persecution against Jewish people goes way back to biblical times. Um, but specifically to the Germans, they had blamed Jews for Germany's defeat in World War One, and also for the economic problems that occurred after World War One. And so, a lot of the misdirected blame went on the Jewish community, and a lot of the Germans believed that Jewish people were more loyal to their own religion or their own ethnic group, and they weren't necessarily like Germans, like nationalist Germans type of thing. I mean, an Italian's from Italy, a German is from Germany, right? Someone who's Dutch is from the Netherlands. But someone who's Jewish, where are they from? And that's where some of that misguided philosophy goes to. Probably one of the turning points in the Holocaust was an event called Kristallnacht, which was translated as Night is Broken Glass. This was a situation over the course of a weekend in 1937, where Jewish homes and businesses and synagogues were attacked. Over 100 Jews were killed. Many thousands were gathered up and sent off to some of the labor camps. Herschel Greenspan was kind of connected to this by the fact that he had learned that his father had been deported to Poland. He was living in Paris at the time, Herschel was, and he kind of targeted a German diplomat in Paris and killed him. And when word spread that happened, that's what kind of kicked off, the rioting and so forth that took place in all throughout Germany. After Kristallnacht, many Jews concluded that the violence was not going to go away. Many felt like it was going to increase and fled to surrounding countries like USSR and Poland and surrounding areas. However, a lot of Western countries, Britain, France, the United States as well, closed their doors to immigration. Again, this is the 1930s, right? So there's, the Great Depression's going on. The unemployment rate is already high. It's hard to find housing for, American citizens. And yet now you throw in, thousands of immigrants trying to flee the Holocaust, and the United States and other countries just didn't have the capabilities at that point to be able to deal with that, although they thought that anyways. As Hitler begins to conquer these areas in the late 1930s, of course, Poland 1939 and so forth, he starts to, regather these Jewish people who had fled originally, and created ghettos or concentrated areas where Jewish people were allowed to live, but really blocked off from civilization. And those were created, the most famous one being in Warsaw in Poland. The final solution was a process of isolated, effective types of situations that occurred. Hitler imposed a final solution program, genocide or the systematic murder of an entire population.
Sure was.
Final stage was that extermination camps were built as well, killing as many as 6,000 humans a day. And by the time it's all over, nearly 6 million Jews had been murdered during the Holocaust, and probably about 6 million others who are considered to be undesirable.
And if you really want to ruin